Welcome back. Ed Martin here in the Pro America Report. You know, I can't remember when I had Andrew Pollack on the show. It was maybe 6 months ago or a year ago. We were talking about his book. I think maybe it was around the time where it came out. Anyway, the book is called Why Meadow Died, which is, I just mentioned to him off the air. I hadn't read the whole thing. I'd read parts of it. It was in my basement, down on the desk in the basement when I worked downstairs. Found it about 2 weeks ago, finished reading it. And then, of course, Andrew Pollack had a great star turn at the Republican National Convention. He I think, like you know, you can hear it in his voice. If you see him up there, he comes across not only as a heartbroken father, but a sincere guy. And, you know, he's a businessman. He's come through this. And so it's great to have you back on the show. Andrew, how are you today?
Thanks, Ed. I'm all right. I'm not too far from you. I'm on the state. I moved to the state north of you, Oregon.
Oh, wow. Okay, good. Well, good deal. I think I knew that. Well, may have to go down to Seattle and clean them out. But hey, listen, you know, you and I were talking off the air, and I was going to talk about your appearance on. Everybody saw you at the Republican convention, and it was powerful and all. And I think they know the story. But tell me about what you're doing, because off the air I said, hey, you got to deal with this every day, and you said that's how it is, every day, every minute. Your daughter's gone, and you got to deal with it. But you're living your life to change things, and tell me about this technology you're developing that can help law enforcement. I think our listeners will be interested.
Sure. I just want to touch on anyone who asks, like, oh, you know, you're going to heal with time. A parent doesn't heal with time when they lose a child. I think it's just, you know, adult pain that you just have to learn and live with it. And you move on and you do your best for your other kids and people around you. So
right.
After I wrote the book, and that's when I spoke about that speech, was the policies that led up to my daughter getting murdered. That started with the Obama Biden administration, and President Trump rescinded it, but they're still in. Just because the president rescinds it at a federal level, you know, a lot of these school districts are run by these liberal loons, and they still have these policies in place. They think it's a feel-good policy for them, and they think they're doing the right thing, but they're really hurting kids. So that's in the book. I did that, and then I moved on. You know, what killed me every day was knowing that no first responder got to my daughter for over 40 minutes, Ed, on the third floor. And I said, how could I make a difference to speed that up and help the police? Right? And now the police need us more than ever with the Democrats' agenda, defund the police and remove police from the schools. That's what they're doing now in states in California, Portland, Oregon. A lot of states are removing police from schools. So what we developed now is a software, which is unbelievable. We have it in departments. It connects police, their real-time crime center, to any other entity with cameras. So it could be a school, a place of worship, a hospital, a hotel, within 5 seconds, Ed. So say you're in church, temple, wherever, a mosque, wherever you go, and something happens, you'll be able to press a button on your phone, and it'll light up within 5 seconds at the police department. The police will be able to see every camera where you're at, right? Not only every camera, they'll be able to unlock and lock doors from the dispatch, speak over the PA, silence a fire alarm, which was important. My daughter's teacher put her out into the hallway. After 90 rounds went off, she thought it was a good idea to put my daughter out in the hallway because, you know, the fire alarm was going off. So dispatch could silence the fire alarm, talk to the shooter or any of the people inside the building, telling them where to go, open and close doors. Interesting, too, we did it, you know, when you're looking at, say you're a dispatcher and you're looking at 20, 30 cameras on a monitor, when you mouse on the one camera, you don't know where it is in the building. We interfaced it with a mapping system that tells the person exactly where to go in the building. And we demonstrated this, and we've done lots of drills with police departments. And my software is going to cut minutes, not even, like I got into it, like you always hear that expression, seconds save lives, which it does.
Right.
But with my software implemented, it shaves minutes off of response time, which that's why I got involved with it. And we're offering it through my grant on schoolsafetygrant.org, any police department to get on there, fill it out, and let me help them. Private schools, like I said, temples, public schools, hospitals, go on there and really do the research and see how incredible this software is.
And say that website again, Andrew, please.
Sure. Schoolsafetygrant.org. It's a 2-page grant application. That's all it is. And the chief, the last department that we put it into in Coral Springs, Florida, that's the department that ran past the Broward Sheriff's Office guys that were hiding behind their cars. They ran past them. So I lived in that town, so I wanted to get them the software first. He says, Andy, he couldn't thank me enough, Chief Perry, and he said it took my department from responding like in a robot, in a rowboat to a starship.
Right.
That's how it sped up his response time. That's how he explained it.
And I think I know the answer because I heard it in your voice and a few comments on when you spoke at the RNC. We're talking with Andrew Pollack, and again the book is Why Meadow Died, about what happened, which is really powerful and worth reading. But I hate to say this, but are most school districts just not doing anything? They basically are saying it won't happen to us.
It depends where you're at and how they take it. You know, when you look at a lot of the private sector, they're doing everything they can. You know, some public schools that are run people that really care, which is far and in between, they're making a difference. That's why I tell. Right. That's why I'm glad. This is why this November election is so important. The Trump administration and Republicans down the line are for school choice, where Democrats want you to send your child to that public school, even if it's failing in your zip code. So no parent should have to send their child to a failing public school. And Democrats are okay with that, with their teachers union, they're against school choice and charter schools. And I think it's great. Right. Any parent should have the choice where to send their children. It doesn't have to be a public school. It could be a home school. It could be a charter school, a private school. They should have the option, and Democrats don't want to give that to parents, and it's very important. That is on the ticket, and also removing police officers from schools. You know, these demented people think that's a good idea.
We're talking with Andrew Pollack, and one of the places you can especially follow stuff. In fact, schoolsafetygrant.org, the website is there on his Twitter feed at Andrew Pollack FL. You can find that there. Lots of action there. Let me ask you on that on school choice. I have a big problem with the teachers unions. To me, teachers want to do the best. Obviously, that you wouldn't be a teacher. You don't get paid enough to do it. I mean, I don't think I just want to give as much good faith thoughts about teachers, and parents want the best for their kids, even though they make decisions sometimes blindly. It feels to me like teachers unions are really a culprit. Do you have an opinion on that?
Sure, Ed. That's an easy one. So are you familiar in Florida and people, that failed sheriff where 9 of his deputies failed and listened to shots going fired and they never went in the building? Yeah. Are you familiar with the governor of Florida removed that sheriff? Did you know that?
Yes, I am. Yes, yes, I did. Yep.
Okay, so Sheriff Israel was removed, okay, and he just ran again in the primary. It was in August. He was in the primary and almost won, if you could believe it. So to tell you what I think of the teachers' unions and how evil they are, 3 of their union members were killed at the school, 2 coaches and a teacher, murdered. If you could believe it, the Broward Teachers Union endorsed this failed sheriff that was removed. So that's how. So I don't really, when teachers, I don't have much empathy for teachers if they belong to these unions, you know, because they don't speak up. All right, you're not getting paid well, so why are you still paying into these unions that are okay with teachers getting assaulted? It's at the all-time high now, Ed. Teachers getting assaulted. Yeah. These restorative justice programs, the unions are for them in the schools. And they don't speak up. So how could you know what I mean? I don't really care what happens to these teachers. If they're getting beat up, let them get beat up. If you're going to pay into that union and agree with them and not take a stand, then how do you respect them?
Yeah, no, it's certainly a broken system, and the teachers should, like a lot of things. There's a famous phrase, you'll love it if you haven't heard it. And we're talking with Andrew Pollack, and Eric Hoffer said, "Every great cause begins as a movement, becomes a business, and eventually degenerates into a racket." And at some point, the teachers union went from being a good cause, right, to protect teachers, get them good pay. It became a business, and now it's just a racket where they protect themselves and their political cronies, and they're not worried about the kids or the teachers. So, Andrew Pollack, thank you. As always, I'll put it all up on social media. We'll have you back again. Anytime something comes on that you see, give me a ring. We'll put you on the show. I appreciate your voice very much, sir.
Sure. Thanks, Ed, and have yourself a great weekend.
Okay, we'll talk again soon. We'll take a quick break and be right back. It's Ed Mart here on the Pro America Report. Back in a moment.